Hey guys, for y'all that don't know me, my name is Stacy Williams, and I'm going to be reading this book to you. So, this is Blotch, A Tale of Forgiveness and Grace by Andy Addis. And so that's Blotch, and we're going to find out why he's got spots all over him and what he's going to do in this book. Okay? All right, so we're going to start off with chapter 1. The journey begins. So there's Blotch. He's looking in a pond. Blotch was the smallest brother in the smallest family in the smallest village in the whole kingdom. As the bright orange sun began to set, little Blotch sat in the same place where he ended every day. He was perched on the edge of a very small cliff, on the edge of a very small pond, looking into the clear and perfectly still water. The surface of the water was like a mirror, and Blotch would often stare at his reflection for hours. There he is again. It's not that he liked the way he looked. In fact, it was just the opposite. Blotch spent his evenings trying to race the vanishing light of the sun as he counted all the spots and stains upon his face and body. But every day as the light faded, his mother called him to dinner before he could get to the end of his counting. There were just too many stains. Blotch was not born with all his stains. None of his people were. They all began their lives with only one small mark, but the number of stains grew and grew with each passing day. No matter how hard they tried, they could not keep from getting new stains. The stains were part of who they were. With a name like Blotch, he thought about those stains and spots a lot. Of course, the stains were no mystery. Everyone knew where they came from. If you told a lie, a stain appeared. When you said something mean, there was another spot. Disobeying parents, oops, here comes another. Whenever anyone was bad, mean, or just did something wrong, another stain would appear. Even the best people Blotch knew had their own stains. He didn't know exactly what had caused each of their spots, but he knew it wasn't anything good. Although no one liked the marks, no one knew how to make them go away. But Blotch was a determined boy, and he was determined to find the answer. As the sun faded behind the hills, Blotch made his way home. It was time for dinner, and he knew that he would not solve the problem of the stains tonight. Around the table with his father, mother, and two older brothers, Blotch sat quietly while they talked about their day. They shared stories of bullies at school, mean conversations at work, and rude people at the store. These were the kinds of things that stained people talked about. Blotch didn't say a word, that is, until his mother turned to him and said, "Well, my little Blotch, why so quiet tonight?" Blotch looked up quickly, sending a single tear sliding down his cheek. "How do we get rid of the stains?" His voice was shaky but loud. Everyone at the table went silent, and every eye focused on Blotch. "I'm tired of the spots, the marks, and the stains. I want them to go away." He didn't know whether to cry or be mad. His oldest brother spoke first. "Oh, be quiet, Blotch. Everyone's got them." As he spoke, a faint little spot appeared just under his left eye. Blotch's middle brother didn't say a word, but he didn't have to. When a stain appeared at the end of his brother's nose, Blotch knew he must be thinking mean things about him. So there they are. There's his mother, and his father, and there's Blotch. And see, there's his brother. So look, see the stain on his nose right there? They've all got those stains, all got those spots. Just then, Blotch's father spoke up. Now, Blotch, your brother is right. Unfortunately, these stains are just part of life. You need to learn to live with them like everybody else." But Blotch didn't want to live with the stains. Deep down, he believed they were not meant to have spots, and he was going to find some way, any way, to make them go away. A little embarrassed, Blotch pushed away from the table and walked around to sit next to his father. Blotch whispered, "Dad, what if there's a way we can get rid of the spots?" "Well, I suppose that would be wonderful, my little Blotch, but how in the world could that ever be? We've always had spots," said his father. Blotch felt his stomach tighten. He had thought about this plan almost every night while sitting by the pond and counting the stains, but saying out loud would make it even more real. Blotch swallowed the lump in his throat and continued, "Dad, what if someone knows how to get rid of the stains? What if someone in one of the other villages knows what to do? What if the king of the kingdom could make them go away? Blotch sat up taller and wiped the tears from his eyes. He looked right at his father, feeling bigger than he had ever felt. He asked one more question. Dad, I need to find an answer. Would you let me go on an adventure to see if someone knows how to get rid of the stains? Blotch's heart pounded like thunder as he waited for his father's reply. It seemed like an hour before he heard the quiet answer. Yes. Blotch couldn't believe it. He looked up at his father and saw that this time the tears were in his father's eyes. Even though Blotch was young, his father knew he could not deny Blotch the chance to find the answers he was searching for. Okay. So now we're going to read chapter 2, The Hiders. So see, there's Blotch, still with his stains. There's his village back there, and he's leaving to go try and find an answer. Let's see if he does. Early the next morning, Blotch packed a backpack with a few sandwiches, a sleeping bag, and a map. He kissed his mother, hugged his father and brothers, and bravely set off down the road looking for his answer. There he is again. After an hour or so, he heard the sounds of a noisy, bustling village. Getting closer, he saw many people working, walking, and talking to one another. It was much like his village, but something was very different. Blotch didn't see any stains. As he looked around, he admired the rows of white picket fences and lush green lawns. The streets were spotless, and every single person looked neat and polished. Blotch was usually shy, but he couldn't help but stare. Seeing an entire village of people with no stains, no spots, no marks. He could hardly believe his eyes. Could I have already found the answer to my question, he thought to himself. Blotch was so excited he forgot his manners and ran up to the first group of strangers he saw. You have no stains, he exclaimed. A smile stretched across the face of a tall stranger carrying a box full of bottles. The man responded in a very snooty voice. Why, no, I do not. No one here in Hyderville has stains. We're simply better than those stained people. There they are, no spots. See him carrying the bottles. Blotch was so amazed that he didn't really notice the stranger's insult. Instead, he reached out to touch the arm of the stain-free man. The stranger's smile quickly disappeared as he jerked his arm away. I would think you to mind your own business, he said before forcing a smile again. Blotch stepped back and lowered his head. Oh, I'm sorry. He spent the rest of the morning walking around the village and trying not to stare at all the stainless people. Blotch could tell that they were also trying, although not as hard, to keep from staring at Blotch's stains from head to toe. And wherever he walked near a group of villagers, they would step far off the sidewalk to avoid him. Blotch couldn't quite figure it out. These villagers may not have any marks or stains, but they certainly weren't very nice. After a while, Blotch got the courage to ask a few villagers how it was that they had no stains. None of your business. That's for me to know and you to find out. Why don't you go back to where you came from? The harder Blotch tried to discover the secret of Hyderville, the harder the villagers tried to hide the answer. But with every rude response, Blotch just grew more and more determined to find answers. He was so focused on his mission that he didn't hear the rumbles of thunder from the summer storm passing through. In fact, he never would have noticed if it wasn't for the way that everyone in Hyderville began to run for cover. Run, run, came the cries of mothers to their children. Grown men pushed through the crowds of people, not caring who they shoved down on their way to get inside, somewhere, anywhere. Blotch shouted to anyone who would listen, It's just a little rain. Why are you all so afraid? Just then, a booming clap of thunder announced the presence of a downpour. Everyone had made it inside. That is, everyone except Blotch and the tall stranger he had met when he first arrived. The man had dropped his box in the commotion and was frantically trying to pick up all the bottles. In the rain, this tall stranger looked different. He looked sad. Not sad like he'd got caught in the rain, but sad that something horrible had happened. What do you think's happening? Uh-oh. As the rain fell on the once spotless man, Blotch could see that the stranger now looked like him, stains and all. The rain had washed away his secret. The people of this village were really no different from those in the town Blotch had come from. They had just as many stains. They had only covered them, and the rain revealed everything these people were hiding. Blotch picked up his backpack, glanced at the sad, stained stranger, and walked away from Hyderville. So, any guesses of what the stains represent? I guess we'll find out. Maybe Blotch will find the answer to his problem, and maybe he can get rid of those stains. We'll find out. Bye. Thanks for joining me.